My brother stole $50,000 from our family business, my parents took his side, and now they refuse to attend my wedding. I never thought I'd end up writing something like this, but I'm at my breaking point. My name's Alex, I'm 32 male, and for the last 5 years, I've been running my family's construction business. My dad handed it over to me when he retired, and I've poured everything into it, expanding our contracts, upgrading equipment, and keeping it profitable. I'm the dependable one, always have been. Early mornings, late nights, you name it. My younger brother, Mike, 28 male, is the total opposite. He's the golden child in my parents' eyes, never had a real job, always chasing some get-rich-quick idea that crashes and burns. Still, he's my brother, so I've tried to support him. I'm engaged to Sarah, my fiancée and the best thing in my life. We're planning a wedding for next spring, nothing huge, just a simple day with the people we love. I've been saving up to make it happen, and Sarah's been amazing, even pitching in with the business accounts when I'm swamped. It's been a team effort. A month ago, my parents begged me to give Mike a role in the business. They said he needed direction after his latest flop, an online store that folded in 6 months. I didn't want to, but they laid on the guilt. He's your brother, Alex. Give him a shot. So, I caved. I gave him small stuff, phone calls, scheduling, nothing critical. I figured he couldn't mess that up. Then, 2 weeks ago, I was checking the books to pay some vendors, and I saw it, $50,000 missing from the business account. My heart sank. I thought it was a glitch, but the numbers didn't lie, $50,000, gone. I dug into the records and found multiple cash withdrawals over a few weeks, all when I wasn't around. I called the bank, and they confirmed the transactions were legit, made with the company card I keep locked in my office. Only 3 people know where that card is, me, Sarah, and Mike. Sarah's honest to a fault, she'd never touch it. That left Mike. I started piecing it together. He'd been acting off, showing up late, dodging me, and suddenly sporting a new watch and designer clothes. I'd hoped he'd found a gig, but now it clicked. Last weekend, I confronted him. Mike, did you take the money? He smirked, tried to brush it off. What? No, dude, that's crazy. I showed him the logs. He crumbled. All right, I took it. I needed it for a project. I'll pay it back, relax. A project? $50,000 without asking? I lost it. What project? Why didn't you talk to me? He snapped back, you're always lording it over me. I knew you'd say no. It's my family's business too. I gave him an ultimatum, return the money in a week, or I'm pressing charges. He stormed off, calling me a control freak. I figured my parents would have my back. $50,000 isn't pocket change, it's a massive hit to the business. I called them, laid it all out, expecting outrage. Instead, my mom said, Alex, don't be so harsh. He's struggling. Give him time to fix it. My dad added, Mike's not like you. He needs more help. I was floored. They were siding with him, acting like stealing $50,000 was a minor slip-up. I hung up, reeling. Sarah was furious when I told her. They're enabling him, Alex. He'll do it again if you let this go. She's right, but it's my family, cutting them out feels impossible. The wedding's 6 months away, and this mess is eating into our plans. I've already pulled $30,000 from our savings to cover the shortfall, and it's stressing us both out. The business is limping along, and I'm scared we'll lose more if I don't act. I'm stuck. Do I sue my brother and torch what's left of my family? Or do I let it slide and pray he grows a conscience? Legal action feels like the only way, but it's killing me to think about it. Has anyone dealt with this kind of betrayal, family picking the thief over you? I'd kill for some advice. Update 1. It's been a week since I posted, and things have only gotten worse. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but honestly, I'm not. This is just how my family operates. Mike screws up, and everyone else scrambles to clean up the mess. But this time, I'm not playing along. After I confronted Mike about stealing the $50,000 from the family business, he disappeared for a few days. No calls, no texts, nothing. I was starting to think maybe he was too ashamed to face me, but then he showed up at my house last night with a sob story that made my blood boil. He claimed he took the money for a business investment, something about a sure thing with a friend who's starting a tech company. He even had the nerve to say he did it for the family, so he could contribute and make us all proud. For a split second, I almost believed him. Almost. But then I remembered the flashy watch, the new clothes, and the fact that he couldn't even hold down a job for more than 6 months. Sarah, my fiancée, pointed out that if it was a real investment, he would have asked for permission or at least told me about it. So, I did some digging. I called a buddy who works in tech, and he'd never heard of this company Mike mentioned. Then, I checked Mike's social media. He's not exactly private, and there it was, photos from last week of him at a casino, grinning with a stack of chips, and another of him test driving a luxury car. My hands shook with anger. He didn't invest the money, he blew it on gambling and toys while I'm struggling to keep the business afloat. I called him out on it immediately. Mike, I saw your posts. You didn't invest in anything, you gambled it away and bought a damn car. He tried to backpedal, saying the car was a demo and the casino trip was just for fun, but I wasn't buying it. I demanded proof of this so-called investment, and he clammed up, saying I was overreacting and paranoid. That's when I knew, he was lying through his teeth. Then, my parents got involved again. My mom called me this morning, her voice all soft and pleading, like she was trying to calm a child. Alex, Mike told us about his business venture. You need to understand, he was trying to help. Can't you just give him more time? I couldn't believe it. They were buying his story without a shred of evidence. When I told them about the casino and the car, my dad jumped in, saying, "You're always so quick to judge him. Maybe he made a mistake, but he's still your brother. You should trust him." Trust? After he stole from me? I was livid. I told them if they kept defending him, I'd have no choice but to take legal action. My mom gasped, like I'd threatened to burn the house down. "You'd really sue your own brother? Over money?" she said. "It's not about the money," I snapped. "It's about respect, and right now, none of you are showing me any." My dad threatened to cut me out of the family business altogether if I didn't get over this. I hung up, shaking with anger. Sarah and I talked it over, and she's been my rock through all of this. She thinks we should give Mike one last chance to make it right before going legal. So, I sent him a text, "You have 1 month to pay back every cent, or I'm taking you to court. No more excuses." He replied with a thumbs up emoji, like it was no big deal. I don't know if he's taking me seriously, but I'm done playing nice. I've already contacted a lawyer to discuss my options, and they said I have a strong case if it comes to that. I feel like I'm losing my family over this, but maybe I never really had them to begin with. It's like they've chosen Mike over me, and I don't know how to process that. Part of me wants to cave, to keep the peace, but I know if I do, he'll just do it again. I can't let that happen. Update 2. It's been a month since I gave my brother Mike an ultimatum to repay the $50,000 he stole from the family business, and things have spiraled out of control. I'm still processing it all, but here's what's happened. Mike didn't pay back a dime by the deadline. 2 days before it was up, he texted me, claiming he was working on it and needed more time. I'd heard enough excuses, so I didn't reply. True to my word, I hired a lawyer and filed a small claims lawsuit against him. It felt unreal, suing my own brother, but he left me no choice after taking money that was meant for the business I've worked so hard to build. My lawyer says it's a strong case since he admitted to taking the money, and I have proof of the withdrawals. Last week, my parents called a family meeting at their house, insisting Sarah and I attend to talk this out like adults. I was hesitant, but Sarah thought it might be a chance for them to understand my side. I wish I'd trusted my gut and stayed home. When we arrived, my parents, Mike, and his new girlfriend, a woman I'd never met, were waiting. Mike sat there, smug, while my mom opened with, "We're here because we love each other and need to move past this." My dad added, "Mike has something to say." Mike then tearfully confessed he has a gambling addiction, claiming he struggled for years and took the money to pay off debts to bad people. He even showed a pamphlet from an addiction support group he's supposedly attending. For a moment, I wavered. If he was genuinely sick, maybe I'd been too hard on him. But then I remembered the casino photos, the luxury car test drive, and the lack of any proof, like debt collection notices or threats from these bad people. I asked him directly, "If you were in debt, why were you at a casino? Where's the evidence of these debts?" He stumbled, saying he panicked and gambled to win it back. My parents bought every word, with my dad saying, "He's sick. He needs help, not a lawsuit." Sarah chimed in, "If he's struggling, why didn't he ask for help instead of stealing? Why only admit this now, after getting caught?" Mike's girlfriend snapped, "You don't understand addiction. It makes people do crazy things." I countered, "I get that, but it doesn't excuse theft. He needs to own up to it." That's when it all unraveled. My mom called me heartless, asking, "How can you sue your brother when he's at his lowest?" My dad shouted, "You're tearing this family apart over money. We raised you better." I was furious, shaking as I said, "You raised me to be honest and work hard, but that doesn't apply to Mike, does it?" Mike sobbed, "I'm sorry, I'll pay you back, just give me time, please don't do this." I looked at him and said, "You had your chance. I'm done." My parents lost it. My mom threatened to cut me out of family events if I didn't drop the suit. My dad warned, if you go through with this, don't expect our support when you need it. We won't be there for your wedding, or anything else. I grabbed Sarah's hand, stood up, and said, that's your choice. I'm not backing down. We walked out, and I haven't spoken to them since. The lawsuit is moving forward. My lawyer says it's a strong case. Mike admitted to taking the money, and I have proof. Legally, it's clear-cut, but emotionally, it's a mess. I keep wondering if I'm too harsh or should have given him another chance. Sarah insists he's manipulating everyone, and I believe her, but it's tough when my parents have taken his side. I feel isolated and guilty, even though I know I'm right to stand my ground. This mess is also hitting my wedding plans with Sarah. We had to cancel our venue deposit and scramble for cheaper options. Sarah's parents offered to help financially, which I appreciate, but I hate that my family drama is dragging her down too. She's been my rock, but I can see it's wearing on her. Update 3. It's been 2 months since my last update, and a lot has happened, some good, some bad, and some downright infuriating. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. The small claims court hearing finally took place last week. I was nervous going in, but my lawyer assured me we had a solid case. Mike showed up with a cheap-looking lawyer who barely seemed prepared. During the hearing, I presented the evidence, the transaction logs, the security footage from the office showing Mike taking the company card, and even his text messages where he admitted to borrowing the money. Mike tried to play the victim, claiming he was under pressure and that he didn't mean to hurt anyone. He even brought up his supposed gambling addiction again, but the judge wasn't buying it. She pointed out that addiction doesn't excuse theft and that he had ample opportunity to come clean or ask for help. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor. Mike was ordered to repay the full $50,000, plus court costs, within 6 months. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, finally, some justice. But here's the catch, Mike doesn't have the money. He's broke, living off odd jobs and whatever handouts my parents give him. The judge set up a payment plan, but at the rate he's going, it'll take years to get it all back. Still, it's something. At least the court acknowledged that I was right. The financial strain from this whole mess has hit our wedding plans hard. Sarah and I had to cancel our original venue, a beautiful lakeside spot we'd booked months ago, because we couldn't afford the deposit anymore. It broke my heart to let it go, but we didn't have a choice. Sarah's been amazing through it all, suggesting we have a smaller ceremony in her parents' backyard to save money. Her family even offered to cover some costs, which I'm grateful for, but it stings that my own family's drama is forcing us to scale back something we've dreamed about for so long. We're now looking at DIY options for decorations and asking friends to help with catering. It's not what we envisioned, but Sarah keeps reminding me that the day is about us, not the venue. Still, I can't shake the frustration that Mike's selfishness has tainted this. My parents' reaction to the lawsuit has been complicated. After the court ruling, I thought maybe they'd finally see Mike for who he is, but no. My mom called me the next day, sobbing, saying I'd ruined Mike's life and that he's spiraling because of the stress. She begged me to drop the payment plan and let him start fresh. I was speechless. When I refused, she accused me of being cold-hearted and said, family should forgive, not punish. My dad, on the other hand, sent a terse email, you've made your point. Don't expect us at the wedding. That one hurt. I always thought they'd be there for me, but now it's clear, they've chosen Mike, again. Sarah's furious with them, saying we don't need their negativity anyway. She's right, but it still stings. I've stopped answering their calls, and they've stopped trying. It's like they've written me off for standing up for myself. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I got a call from our family accountant yesterday. He was going through the business's old records and found something odd, a series of unauthorized transfers from the business account to an offshore account, starting 6 months before Mike's big theft. The total? Another $30,000 missing. My stomach dropped. I thought Mike had only taken the $50,000, but it seems he's been siphoning money for longer than I realized. When I confronted him about it, he denied it at first, then admitted he might have taken a little extra but swore it was just to cover expenses. Expenses? Like what? More casino trips? But here's the kicker, when I told my parents, they refused to believe it. My mom said, you're just trying to make him look worse to justify your lawsuit. My dad accused me of fabricating evidence to punish Mike. I was floored. The accountant has the records, but they won't even look at them. It's like they're in denial about who Mike really is. Now, I'm faced with another decision. Do I amend the lawsuit to include this new theft, or let it go to keep the peace? Sarah thinks I should fight for every penny, but I'm exhausted. The wedding's in 4 months, the business is struggling to recover, and my family's basically disowned me. Part of me wants to walk away from it all, but I know if I do, Mike will never learn, and my parents will keep enabling him. Final update. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I'm finally ready to close this chapter of my life. A lot has happened, some painful, some healing, but I've come out of it stronger and more at peace than I ever thought possible. Here's the final update on my story. The small claims court enforced the payment plan for Mike, and he started repaying the $50,000 he stole from the business. It's not much, just $1,000 a month, but it's something. He's also been ordered to attend a support group for gambling addiction, though I doubt he'll stick with it for long. As for the additional $30,000 I discovered he'd siphoned earlier, I decided not to pursue it legally. It was a tough call, but after talking it over with Sarah and my lawyer, I realized it would just drag out the drama and cost more than I'd ever get back. I've accepted that I'll probably never see that money, but I'm not letting it control my life anymore. Sarah and I got married last weekend, and it was everything we could have hoped for, a small, heartfelt ceremony surrounded by love. We held it in her parents' backyard, with just our closest friends and Sarah's family. It wasn't the lakeside venue we'd originally dreamed of, but honestly, it didn't matter. The day was perfect because it was about us, not the drama that tried to derail it. Sarah's parents went above and beyond, helping with decorations and even hiring a local band as a surprise. I'll never forget the look on Sarah's face as we said our vows. It was like all the stress and pain of the past year just melted away. My parents, as I expected, didn't show up, but I didn't let that ruin the day. Sarah's family has welcomed me with open arms, and for the first time, I feel like I have a family that truly supports me. As for my parents, it's complicated. After the wedding, my mom sent a card with a half-hearted apology, saying she wishes things were different but still defending Mike's struggles. My dad hasn't reached out at all. It hurts, but I've made peace with it. I've decided to maintain low contact with them, just holiday cards and the occasional text. I won't cut them off completely, but I'm done trying to win their approval. They've chosen to enable Mike, and that's their burden to bear. Speaking of Mike, he sent a text congratulating me on the wedding, but I didn't respond. I don't hate him, but I don't trust him either. Maybe one day we'll talk again, but for now, I need space. The business is slowly recovering. With the lawsuit behind me and the payment plan in place, I've been able to stabilize things. I hired a new accountant to overhaul our finances and put stricter controls in place to prevent anything like this from happening again. We've even landed a few new clients, thanks to some networking I did at a local trade show. It's not back to where it was, but it's progress. I've also started mentoring a young apprentice who reminds me of myself at that age, hungry to learn and eager to prove himself. It's been rewarding to pass on what I know, and it's given me a new sense of purpose. Looking back, this whole ordeal taught me a lot about boundaries, family, and what really matters. I spent so long trying to be the perfect son, but in the end, I had to choose myself, and Sarah. Our marriage is stronger than ever, and we're already talking about starting a family of our own. I'm excited for the future, not just because of the wedding, but because I finally feel free from the weight of my family's expectations. To everyone who's followed my story and offered advice, thank you. Your support helped me stay strong when I needed it most. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that sometimes the family you choose is more important than the one you're born into. I'm building that family now, and I couldn't be happier.